This is KWASI Thomas from Netflix's Snowpiercer, and you're watching The ARROYO Show. Exposure to the show is the movie, right? So the very, very first thing I thought about it was, this needs to be a TV show, right? There's a lot in here that's just kind of, 2.5 hours can't cover.
Welcome on to the show. My name is Brandon Arroyo. This is The Arroyo Show. If it's your first time here, please give it a thumbs up and a subscribe. What a show we have for you guys today. Our guest, you can see in the show Snowpiercer, starring Daveed Diggs and Jennifer Connelly. Season 1 is airing now on TNT. Please welcome KWASI Thomas. How are you today?
I'm really good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks for jumping in here with us and giving us a little bit of your sleep time. I know that this is early in the morning for you.
Well, early enough. It's only 11. I got up a little earlier today, and I'm kind of just into nap time.
Well, we'll get right into it here. You're playing the role of Z-Wreck in Snowpiercer. When you look back on your time on set, what will you remember most about working on this project, Snowpiercer?
I mean, it varies from day to day, but truth be told, I think just being able to watch Miss Jennifer Connelly just up front. We're not in many scenes together, but I've had the opportunity to be around when she's doing her thing or watch her on monitors. And she's a huge reason why I even got into acting in the first place. So just the fact that this full round brought me just close enough to be even having this interview, man, that's one of the things I'm never going to forget, man.
I mean, that show is such an interesting concept, right? So for those of you that are new to the series, Snowpiercer takes place 7 years after the world has become a frozen wasteland, and the people still surviving live on this train that's just speeding across the globe, and there's still a class system and politics. What were your first thoughts when you learned about the concept for the show and taking a part in it?
I guess, my first exposure to the show is the movie, right? So the very, very first thing I thought about it was, this needs to be a TV show, right? There's a lot in here that's just kind of, 2.5 hours can't cover. But it makes total sense. I mean, even in this, made up dystopian universe, it makes sense. You have people, I always say it's kind of pessimistic, but I always say you put two people in a room and you have hierarchy, So just the very fact that it was the rich that built the train, but there's still, there's the poor that still need care, and the weakest of us that still need care, it makes total sense. You stick us all on a train, it's just going to be those two people in a room times 1,001 cars,
And it's so timely with everything that's going on right now. I mean, when you look at that, I have a feeling that might be one of the reasons why this show resonates with so many viewers.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, more people in the world are more familiar with the crap end of a hierarchy than obviously the show was written years ago, and we've been shooting it for years now. And the fact that it's still very poignant and if not more so today, it just shows that it's an ongoing issue. It's been something we've been dealing with forever, right? So I think the train is really, really doing, the show's doing really, really good stuff right now.
You mentioned Miss Connelly and how she's been someone that has influenced your career in acting. When you look at the work that she puts in, and having seen her in person on set, what is something that stands out to you that you were able to take away from spending that time with her on set?
Just from it's weird. I don't want to sound like a creep, but sometimes we'll all be in the tents waiting to go on set or whatnot. I'll just kind of sneak a peek at just greatness, and just the stoicness and the focus, because a lot of us, we do super long days, and a lot of us find wacky ways to kind of pass the time when we're not actually shooting. But I'm talking just focus, and that's something that it's something that's brought us all to where we are now. But just if we can kind of continue with that laser sharp focus when you're working on something, you're just always going to give it your best, and you're going to come off as great as she does, I would imagine.
Well, the revolution comes this Sunday with the debut of Episode 8. Layton is set to lead the lower classes forward into rebellion. Check your local listings for a start time. That is Sunday, July the 5th, the debut of Episode 8 on TNT. KWASI comedy plays a big role in your life. Where did that start for you, the journey to the stage and comedy?
Well, I grew up in Montreal, Quebec, and so we're right by the Just for Laughs festival and everything. But I started doing stand-up comedy in Montreal, in clubs and stuff in Montreal. But before that, I'd been hosting talent shows and variety shows and stuff like that. So it's always been something that's attracted me. Love doing theater and whatnot. So it all just kind of led, my love for stage and performance and stuff just led to a friend of mine introducing me to stand-up comedy, and we just, never looked back. And that was that was a long time ago.
And when you talk about like a friend introducing you to stand-up comedy, when you talk about Montreal, what is the life like for someone that wants to get into entertainment in Montreal? Is there a lot of opportunity to be able to do that in that city?
Of course there is, and it's every city. Like Montreal, obviously boasts as the comedy mecca because it's Montreal, right? As far as Canada goes, but if you're getting into anything stage related or is comedy specifically, you find an open mic. That's where it always starts. Maybe take a class or whatever. But truth be told, you don't really start until you find yourself an open mic. You hit them a couple of times a week, until you get better and better. You build your set 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. And then, with any luck, the bigger guys will bring you up on a bigger stage and so on and so forth. But now, first and foremost, you got to find an open mic.
It's always interesting to hear the reaction that people get when they first decide that they want to get into stand-up comedy. Yeah. What does your people back home, all of your friends and family, think about you pursuing stand-up comedy full-time?
Well, a lot of comedians will say it was their friends that got them into it. You're the funny one in the crew, you're the funny one in in the circle of friends. So a lot of my friends, it made perfect sense. It made perfect sense that myself and my buddy Rodney Ramsey back home in Montreal, he's the one who brought me in, it makes sense that we were going to start doing comedy and start acting and whatnot. My family, like my sister's got my back, my sister, but she kind of keeps me humble, like she doesn't care. She doesn't care. Like she's happy that I'm happy. She's happy that I'm working on what I love, but I'll be like, yo, I'm on this show with David and Jonathan. She'll be like, yeah, cool, whatever, man.
Definitely keeps you grounded.
Yeah, definitely. My mom has no idea what I do for a living. When you're coming home, boy, it's like soon, ma, whenever, But my sister's got my back, and my friends always knew that this is what was going to happen for me,
Yeah, and it's great that you're able to not only represent your family and your friends, but Canada in general. I mean, there's so much great film that's been coming out of Canada, and even later this year, a real milestone for Disney Plus. One of their first acquisitions was shot in Canada, and that's going to be releasing on Disney Plus later this year. When you talk about representing for Canada, what does that mean to you to be an actor that represents for Canada?
It means a lot. It really does, because, the stigma or whatever it is, everyone wants to get to Los Angeles, right? And obviously one day I want LA to call me up and bring me out, and the whole thing, the whole fantasy, and to everyone out there doing it, to each their own. But personally, it meant a lot to achieve any kind of success in Canada, because we do have so much talent and so much resources. And I'm sure half of what you see on television, if not more, is shot in somewhere between Vancouver and Toronto. So there's no reason why we shouldn't have our own. I don't want to use, I hate the word celebrity, but I guess notoriety. There's no reason why Canada shouldn't have its own noticeable actors and people out there actually, repping Canada. And when you watch a TV show, you're like, hey, that guy's Canadian? Oh my God. So, I want to be a part of that change. We're working on it, and I'm not really sure how things are going to go with the borders closing down for COVID and whatnot. But, I do really want to be a part of the change of Canada kind of standing up and being proud of its artists and supporting its artists for a goddamn change.
Well, hey, while we talk about it, because it is July the 2nd right now, how did you spend your Canada Day?
Man, I worked. I had some audition tapes to film. I helped another friend with theirs. I'm a worker, man. And truth be told, I'm not feeling very celebratory these days, if I'm being honest, There's a lot of survival going on right now. So I wasn't trying to go out and find a parade or anything like that. But either way, I had work to do. So I was in front of this computer the whole time.
He is KWASI Thomas. You can see him in the show Snowpiercer, starring Daveed Diggs and Jennifer Connelly. Season 1, again, airing now on Sundays on TNT. Be sure to go and check it out. As we begin to wind down the interview here, our final 5 questions of the evening. Number 1, who do you talk with the most right now?
My sister. We are on WhatsApp all day long, just cracking on each other. So my sister and probably my buddy Jamie, who's out here. Yeah, we make music together sometimes. But yeah, those two.
Other than your phone, what item do you use every day right now?
My TV.
Back and forth.
No shame in my game, man. Remote in one, iPhone in the other.
When did you know acting was what you wanted to do?
I mean, I guess when I was a kid, I always loved it, like I said before. But when I knew I wanted to do it professionally, I'm dead serious. As soon as I was done watching Requiem for a Dream, I just sat there and I kind of just pictured. That's when I realized the actor's importance in storytelling. You know, up until then, I was always just I'm watching a movie, I'm watching a whole story. But you know, between Jared Leto and Jennifer Connelly and Marlon Wayans, I just, oh wow. It had to be them. Like, it had to be them, right? So that around then is when I started deciding I was going to go for it.
Where is your dream vacation?
I don't know yet. I would always imagine, like, just me and my friends, like one of those entourage vacations where it's just you and your friends on a deserted island, but, like, kind of with people serving on your hand and feet, you know, nothing... I don't know, something crazy like that, something really cool like that for my friends.
And finally, how do you define success?
Not having to work a job you don't like just to make rent. I say success is you're doing what you love and you're comfortable financially and you don't look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day like, what the hell did I just do with my day? If you can get to there, I say you're being a success.
He is KWASI Thomas. You can see him in Snowpiercer, starring Daveed Diggs and Jennifer Connelly. Season 1 airing now on Sundays on TNT. Be sure to go and check it out. If you had to give that final 20-second elevator pitch to get people to go check you out this Sunday, what would be the final words of wisdom to get them over there?
Well, first and foremost, COVID is over, so it's perfectly safe to leave the house. Come and check me. So I'll be at the local comedy club. You look up my name and you'll find out where I am. And I'm going to hit you up with some jokes and we're going to talk about Trump and it's going to be hilarious.
KWASI, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time today, brother. We appreciate it.
It was my pleasure, man. It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.